if you can hit him with the Q, get yourself the shield in response, and then trade back with W on, you can actually out-trade the LeBlanc, but it's going to be the farm game that things really get punished on.
Upset and Vander getting the push advantage in bottom lane as well. Vander using half his mana just to push up that wave. Norscaran and Pinoy hit level 2 second, which makes it a lot harder for them to get the push off, but now they're back at it. We'll have to see those double ups if they connect. That's a lot of pain that's going to stick on towards Upset until he heals it up, of course, with those 3 pots.
As Schalke try and settle themselves in the bot lane. I want to keep my eye on the junglers. Where is Steel headed? He just pinged on the top lane. There is a ward up there, so I don't think he's going to go aggressive.
Once again, we just see that exchange of Scuttle Crab vision. Lulex took bot side. Steel is going to be happy with the top side Scuttle, and now perhaps looks for a little bit of an invade, just seeing perhaps if he can spot out where Lulex is. Once again, we'll get a deep ward in, and Selfie winning the trade onto Pretty once more as he distorts straight in.
Oh, watch what Steel's going to do here. Lulex is going to run right past him. Now, can they collapse with Pretty?
It's dangerous though, because Pretty is half HP. Lulex jumps in, Sonic Wave connects, and Pretty has to flash. Follow flash by Lulex, can't get the kill as Pretty distorts away. And as much as Steel was waiting in the wings, he wasn't able to make his grand entrance. Gets caught out once again, and Selfie's around the corner. Steel's going to have to try and flash, but I'm not sure he'll get away from Selfie. Oh, he cancelled the auto attack. Teleport came in by Mimic, perhaps. Oh, it wasn't Mimic, it was Pretty.
It's Pretty, yeah. Pretty's running teleport this game. Was able to come back to the lane, picked up that second Dorans, and oh, Selfie cancelling that auto. Thought it was already enough to get that kill.
He'll be kicking himself for that.
Yeah.
That's not the sort of mistake that we're used to seeing Selfie make. He's gone back, got a Dark Seal, but his flash is now burnt. Thankfully, got the teleport out of Pretty, got the flash out of Pretty as well. Upset's going to take a lot of damage from these Voidlings jumping in. Can, of course, Arcane shift away and then take them down as they try and chase him in.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of Ezreal, although that is a long cooldown. But look at how they're out-trading. There's more damage dealt to Pinoy in between the rotations of Norscaran's cooldowns. Then they're trading back onto Schalke. However, Selfie, no flash. Oh, he's overextended.
Gonna try and get away. Steel is here as well. Pretty jumps back. Selfie taken low. Tries to get the kill on Pretty. Just not enough. And first blood goes to Steel.
And that's where you can punish the Kassadin. If he's pushed up in lane pre-level 6, Selfie shouldn't have been there. It looks like he's just a little frustrated off not getting that first kill, trying to just recoup as much as he could mid lane. If he TPs back to this lane, you might see the same thing happen again. Wait, top lane.
Smitty J just trading onto Mimic, will force him back. Has got the teleport up though, so can just recall and then TP back in. We saw this in the last game though as well. Millennium got first blood, weren't able to convert it into too much. Oh no, yeah, they did get first blood.
This was the attempt. Selfie's trying to play this in the midpoint between Pretty's origin location and where he is there, because as soon as he was snapping back onto that pad, Selfie was looking to try and capitalize, but was only level 5. If he'd have had Rift Walk available, he would have been fine in that situation, but he did not.
It looks like Selfie will be level 6 soon though, so we'll have the Rift Walk to keep himself a little bit safer. However, still getting that first kill means that he can now get the Tracker's Knife and start to try and control the vision game. Vander doing exactly the same. Norscaran will be able to chase him out here, but the Inspire will keep Vander safe. Selfie caught out with the Ethereal Chains, his steal as well. Vander's just around the corner, they're going to jump in. Selfie's dead. Call of the Void. Vander jumps away with a flash. And Millennium collapse once again onto some poor decision-making from Schalke.
Yeah, at this point, Selfie has been just in positions that Millennium is punishing right now. And it feels as though Schalke are playing with the same confidence as the lead they had in game 1, where they actually can't afford to do that. You've picked 2 losing lanes. And those are the ones that are being focused to some extent, especially this mid lane. Schalke getting focused heavily, and Pretty hasn't picked up a kill. That's a difficult spot to be in. If they got some of these kills on the LeBlanc as well, that would be fairly difficult game to come back in.
Even with the rework, LeBlanc still snowballs incredibly well. And actually what I really like from Millennium is the amount of focus they have put towards that mid lane, because Pretty burnt both of his summoners. Let's have another look at this. Vander caught out a little bit, and I thought he was going to be safe.
Yeah, and the real distraction there is that Norskaren's keeping Vander away from Selfie, because Selfie had moved forward in the lane. It was enough to easily pick him off. Unfortunately, it was Norskaren that picked up that kill. He would have liked that to have gone over to either Steel or Pretty, but hey, if Malzahar snowballs, that's okay. You get that Leandries and that Rallies. Slow everybody down.
This skin especially snowballs pretty well.
That was terrible.
It's the 6th game of the day. What do you expect from me? Upset taking quite low here. Vander chased away. Bullet time! Not quite time for either Vander or Upset to die, but they are forced away. Pinoy burnt his flash for that.
Steel's coming. He wants to end the streak.
Pretty's coming in as well. Upset's dead. Vander still looking for the final swing of his bangs. Gets the kill. Smitty J will get 1 in return, but that's the first kill on the board for Schalke. 8 minutes in and already they're 4-1 down.
What was it? Was it 74 minutes?
It was 74 minutes, and then however long last game was.
So it's been 104 minutes until that kill, give or take a minute or so.
Oh, Vander.
All the odd seconds on the end of it.
He died a Centurion, at least.
Gets a card from the Queen. That's what happens in the UK if you make it past 100.
Don't miss position on Karma, please. One does not like it when you miss position on Karma.
I'm pretty sure we lock you in the Tower of London for an impression like that.
Do it.
Desecrating our own heritage at that point. As Millennium, so far, a devastating Schalke in the early game. This is a real different game to the first one, where it was Schalke that were taking the lead, pushing their advantage against Millennium. This time, Millennium have a much early game focused draft, much more early game focused draft, and looking to punish.
Yeah, and we'll see this once again. So Pinoy flashes in, the heal comes out from Schalke to keep themselves alive, but it's just delaying, really.
Yep, just a matter of time, because from the jungle comes Kha'Zix. Steel wanted the blue buff, but realizes a double kill is way better for him.
And they get the exhaust out from Vander as well, so it's a lot burnt. Eventually, Smitty J cleans him up, which is great for the Renekton, but into a Maokai, that Renekton's going to start losing his efficacy as we get later into the game. He's about 20 CS up at the moment, though, so he's going to continue scaling probably until about the 25, 30-minute mark. Yeah,
we'll continue looking to push his advantage. It is only a 700 gold lead, despite 4 kills to 1. There is that CS advantage. Jungle creeps also is in the advantage of, or are in the advantage of Schalke. But if first tower goes down, that would be a big swing over to Millennium.
And this is the swap we were talking about in game 1. We thought perhaps it would come out from Schalke. This time Millennium have realized they've got the winning lane in bot lane, but they haven't got the lane that can take the tower too easily against the Karma Ezreal. So they get tower. They've got 4 members here for Schalke in the bottom lane. They're going to get a tower in response, but first tower and perhaps some damage as well. Selfie has teleport, but no teleport for Smitty J. Means that Millennium can continue to push this in.
Yeah, this normally you'd think would end up as a dragon, but look at how the rest of Schalke have backed away to defend. Upset should be able to get this. Yeah, he will. There's one more auto on top. There we go. Gets it as the last minion dies.
So Mimic had to be really safe because he didn't know who could have still been around there. If he'd known, he could have actually gone really aggressive onto Upset there. Selfie jumping away, and Millennium going to get some chip damage onto this mid lane turret as well.
Watch Lulex on the side,
for the flank onto Steel, gets jumped on. Has to safeguard away. Schalke react okay to this, but they lost the turret and they lost damage on their mid.
Yeah, they lost tower first blood, so Millennium ever so slightly extend their lead. It hasn't gone up by much because that tower was traded in response, but if they get mid tower, this would be a big
Nethergrass bullet time, Selfie's done! Millennium coming up big this game. They've taken all the outer, they're looking for bot lane as well, taken 2 of the outer towers, they're looking for a 3rd, and Schalke just look a completely different team.
Well, Selfie didn't respect the Nethergrass. Pretty, hang on.
Lulex going for the chase, kicks him back. Pretty gets onto Vander, but Lulex will be able to kill him. Actually gives the kill across towards Upset. That's just overextension by Pretty, in all honesty.
Yeah, important kill going over to Upset here just to kind of regroup any kind of advantage they can. Teleport used by Selfie to hold the bot side tower push. Millennium, that was what they needed to open this game up. Mid-tower plus the kill. They've really shut down Selfie early on, punishing this later game draft out of Schalke.
TP coming out by Mimic as well. Smitty J, of course, there's still TP on Pretty and Smitty, so try saying that one quickly. Millennium going to force back this. The problem with Pinoy is he's quite short range. Upset going forward once again. This is one of the problems with MF. She's great in lane because she trades really effectively. You've got bullet time later on if you can position properly, but she's quite short range. Steel's going to face into Smitty. Void Assault used right at the right moment, and Mimic comes in. Steel still goes down. Pinoy, not very much mana. Smitty tries to flash away. Mimic continuing the chase, but the Inspire will get Smitty away. Pretty, however, looking for Lulex. Going to chain him up and take him down. Jump all the way back to the red buff.
It's messy. It's messy from
What
both
is it with game
teams now.
twos, Stress?
Yeah, all of our game twos today. The team that looked so good in game one have looked so bad in game two.
I think, again, like, it's important to stress how well the other team has played.
Yeah.
Like, Millennium here, this, apart from the PSG game, which was a lot cleaner than this is the best performance we've seen against Schalke early game. Now, there is still a possibility, and a strong one at that, with Ezreal and Kassadin, that Schalke can come back and win this game. But Millennium have set themselves up to be the first team to defeat Schalke 04.
They have. They're in a good position for that, to be that first team to beat Schalke in Challenger Series here. It's an odd turn of events, but Millennium, this has looked way better out of them. But you have to then start thinking. Millennium need to snowball this. They're going to try and snowball now against Selfie.
Jump in. The problem is there's no way for Steel to get here. He was looking for the flank. The ethereal chains onto Selfie, though. Those are going to lock him up, and here comes Steel. Selfie looking for the red torch, tries to jump away, but cannot escape from Steel today.
Good. Continuing the snowball. Millennium focus on this Kassadin. Every single time they're catching him out, punishing Selfie for being way out of position. And he's 0-4-0. This has been an easily punished late game pick. Remember, this was orchestrated from picking LeBlanc in phase 1. They knew the Kassadin would come out as a response, so they pick an early game jungler to go alongside that LeBlanc, and they look to snowball heavily.
0-4-0, Kassadin not found on Summoner's Rift at the moment. Doesn't quite work because it's 4-0-4.
Yeah. See, the one you could have gone for was Schalke Null Fear. Well, it's Null Fear Null.
Nice.
In the mid lane
mate,
right
you should
now.
become a play-by-play caster with that.
And honestly, it's not just Null Fear Null, it's Null Spheres Null.
Oh, Nethergrass onto Lulex. Pretty gets the kill. And this is great because Pretty, a few moments ago you were saying, you know, he's 0-0-2. He's not had the best of early games because he hasn't got the kills.
Yeah.
Now got 3 kills under his belt.
Now he's in a good position to carry this game. Pretty and Steel can basically duo carry the game.
Steel chasing out Vander, Upset there as well, but the exhaust comes down onto Steel. Upset might be able to take him out. Norscaron joins the fray, of course, no Nethergrass, but the Call of the Void does come down. Pretty now chasing off towards Smitty. Mimic there as well. Pretty's looking for the kill, but takes a massive kill. The Meek almost gets the 2v1. Smitty on a killing spree, shut down by Pretty. Upset
look at the cooldown.
has True Shot Barrage, might look for Pinoy though instead. Here it misses.
He was trying to predict a flash come through, but Pinoy had already used his flash. So actually that one could have just put it straight over where Pinoy was heading.
Vander's going to spot out Steel, but Steel might just trade straight back into him. Steel's got 4 kills. Upset's going for it though. Steel still has jump here if he wants to jump back in. Decides against it.
Oh, Vander. Smurfing in Challenger. I think that's the end of that tweet. Vander. So I like what he did. So Vander played the tricky play where he mantraed his W to get the health back so that he was not going to get insta-kill.
Waiting for Selfie. Call of the Void comes down. Norscaron didn't have it off cooldown, so probably wasn't waiting.
This game has gone all sorts of crazy. Yeah, so Vander was trying to get the health back so he didn't get insta-killed by Steel, and he did not anticipate after being isolated. Why wouldn't the Kazakhs just two-shot you?
Millennium's still only sitting on those 3 outer turrets, though. We'll be looking to try and force a few more. I just want to say, of course, Schalke lost their 100% first turret ratio in this game as well, so no team now has 100% first turrets. Lulex waiting in the bush here. Pretty's used that Mimic. Let's a difficult one. Perhaps if the Maokai comes up, Ethereal chains onto Smitty J, still waiting around the corner, but look at the damage onto Pretty, just from that single Calder Meek. Upset Nether Grasp, Pinoy here as well. Upset trying to jump away, the Boiling's chasing. Bullet Time will take him out. Selfie, however, can chase in. Bander's going to get caught out by Pretty. He's 0-3 now on this karma, and Selfie can't trade in to the rest of Millennium. Millennium are playing this incredibly well. Perhaps they are those giant beaters. Perhaps the Millennium curse lives on in the form of Schalke.
Maybe. I mean, we have to now look at this in the way that we were talking about Schalke at the end of Game 1. People expect them to relegate LCS teams. People think they're, one of the top, they're undoubtedly the top challenger team in Europe. Not with this performance, you don't. Like, this is a different Schalke to what we've seen. Maybe more akin to that PSG game where they fell behind. This is a disappointing Schalke that seems to have been way too cocky coming into this draft. They pick 2 losing lanes, refuse to play around them early on, and get heavily punished by mistakes by Millennium, who have shown up in this game.
The thing is as well, like if Millennium had been a bit more fortunate with their Drake spawns, and perhaps, say, it been 2 Infernals, the fact Millennium have had the early game on lock would have given them so much more than these 2 Clouds will. Now, we can see here, Upset just gets caught out, doesn't realize.
No QSS. Like, at this point, you're 2 items in, there or thereabouts. You've got to buy a QSS against Malzahar. You didn't pick a Tahm Kench because it wasn't available. You don't have anything that can deny that Malzahar. You cannot afford to do that.
Has gone Iceborne Gauntlet as well, instead of going towards the Triforce that we thought he was going to. Gives you a little bit more kite ability against the LeBlanc, against the Kha'Zix, against the MF, who one of her main problems is her low mobility later on in the game.
I think that's fine. It was more of a throwaway line earlier when you started Longsword. I was like, maybe. You know, if that turned into a Triforce, everyone's
We've all done it. We've all tried to predict things. You know, Amplifying Tome definitely going in towards Proto.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was good.
Schalke struggling now, in all honesty. They're only 3,000 gold behind, though. It looks a lot more. It looks a lot more. It
feels so much further because the composition still needs time from Schalke. Still needs time to get back into this. Upset, he's at an okay point with 2 items, but he's not going to out-damage the LeBlanc, the Kha'Zix. Millennium just can continue to push their advantages.
Especially if they group up with Mimic. Without Mimic, they've got quite a squishy composition, in all honesty. You saw Steel getting chunked out by a Matrid in a flame there. And we can see Schalke's decision-making at the moment is just saying, look, we'll put Selfie in another lane, we'll let Millennium take what they want. But with 5 members, they might be able to take this inhibitor tower.
And without hard amounts of wave clear, high amounts of wave clear here, like you look at it, Kassadin can't do much without stepping up. Renekton can't wave clear without stepping up, and you're only relying on the True Shot barrage in that fact. And Schalke are going to start hemorrhaging more and more objectives. Like, Selfie's pushing, but they're going to lose an inhibitor tower here.
This is weak for them. Lulex there, the bullet time comes out, looking for the kill, can't quite make it. And here comes the TP in by Selfie. He has to jump away straight away. Nethergrass onto Smitty J, steal the front line. Selfie jumps in. Smitty J's low though, and Pretty comes back in once again, exhausted. Just about to escape.
So low.
Upset going for the chase. The True Shot barrage is huge. Mimic gets chased out as well, and sacrifices himself. 2 kills for 1. Inhibitor tower down for Millennium.
Overextension from Millennium allows Schalke back into this game. The first kill goes over to Selfie, and they get another kill on Upset. It is still a win when you look at the damage done to the base of Schalke for Millennium. They still come out ahead from that, but they did just give over a little gold to Schalke, and that might be enough to be the basis of a comeback.
We talked about, we'll have another look at the replay and then I'll come to my point. So all this time, Selfie split pushing and then eventually realizes he needs to TP in.
And it's just at the right time as well, because it's Mimic going in that forces the TP out from Selfie. You can see Smitty J just dives right onto Pretty, takes away half of his health, and that reduces his ability to impact this fight. If Pretty ever jumps in, he loses another half of his health, has to continue pulling back, and Upset with a True Shot barrage, Steel flashes out of the way of it. And Schalke could have looked to continue further on, but didn't want to isolate themselves by jumping forward on the Kassadin. But, oh man, that might be the play that turns around Millennium's fortunes for the negative.
Possibly. Maybe turns Schalke's fortunes back into the positive. We talked about ward control earlier on, especially about Vander being one of the lowest warding supports in the entire EUCS. The rest of his team very low on those warding stats. In fact, Upset is the only one who wards in the top of his group. Look at the coverage at the moment for Schalke. There's not much at all. Yeah. They have been forced back, but they've got a control ward, and they've got one really deep ward in the blue side, in the red side jungle for Millennium. Millennium have control of the majority of the map at the moment.
They do. Pretty is looking to try and get control of top lane. I actually think he's running out of ability to trade here against Selfie.
Oh, you say that. Oh, Selfie's going to trade back, though. Rift walks in. Pretty ethereal chains down. Selfie has the Zhonya's. Pretty might look for this. Lulex kicks him away. And that is a dead LeBlanc. Lulex jumps onto Pinoy, though. He's going to get taken out. Steel on a killing spree. Schalke looking for another turret. Smitty J is pushing in another lane. Has the TP up, though, if he wants to join Upset. Caught out. Nethergrass cleansed away. The QSS finally been bought on that Ezreal.
Yeah, he learned from the last time that caught him out that he needed the QSS. Schalke are just trying to maintain a push in one lane while defensively holding the other. This is a risky game they're playing. They're balancing on a knife's edge to keep in this game.
However, they maintain the gold at only 4,000. That's the difference between these two teams at the moment. It might feel like more. It's 7 turrets to 3. It should be more. It's 2 dragons to none. It should be more, but it's not quite. And at the moment, Millennium they haven't quite cracked the code. They're so close. If they had that, if they got that inhibitor, you would think that they'd broken down Schalke's defensive, but Schalke still have this final line of defense.
Yeah, because if they had got that inhibitor, it would have spelled Baron. Mimic is trying to
2v1 here. Smitty J and Selfie happily just trading into him. Mimic didn't realize perhaps that Schalke had 2 members here, and he's not going to be able to get away from this one for long. The rest of Millennium close in, but Smitty J and Selfie welcome the fray. Pinoy and Norskeren in an awful position, and Schalke find themselves 3 gifted kills. It was a collapse onto Millennium. Now Pretty and Steel seeing what they can do. Not really much is the answer.
And it's all gone wrong for Millennium. Now Pretty comes in. Lulex jumps right back out. Steel didn't quite make it to the position he was looking for. Schalke, again, look at the clean decisions. 15 seconds on the death time as Millennium cannot really contend against this Baron. No TP wards in the pit. There's a couple around the back.
Does Steel just jump the wall and try and steal? Hasn't got flash. It would have to be a big play. He's going to get caught out. Selfie can jump onto him as well. That's what he's setting up to do here. Upset actually goes in instead. Pinoy, Pretty there as well. Selfie tries to take him low. Steel's so low, though. Chains onto Selfie. Pretty's going to get caught out as well as Upset jumps the wall. Mimic teleported in. The Baron's going to go down for Schalke. And this is what we talked about. One mistake and Schalke just pounce.
Yeah, they're punishing, and now Mimic continues to just funnel
the rest
into
of Schalke
this
just going to chase in. Here comes the bullet time, though. Does force them all low. Maybe Millennium could get something out of this. Smitty J's TP'd in. Realizes he doesn't want to face up into these 3 members of Millennium. The rest of Schalke back away, and now they've got Baron, and the gold is even.
Oh, it was looking so good for Millennium. It was looking so good with the advantage they had from the early game. Mimic did not expect both side lane threats to be in that bush, and it was a slow kill, but looked pretty. TPs to the bot lane. Instead of trying to push out top, instead of trying to get anything here, they commit to saving Mimic and don't respect the damage that Smitty J and Selfie have on these 2 squishies. As Norsker and Pinoy fell, then Pretty and Steel get their health chunked through. And it was not enough to survive, and Schalke, now they have a Kassadin that's gone from 0-4-0, and he's just instilling fear in the hearts of Millennium.
Schalke engaging onto Millennium. Selfie comes in with a teleport, looking for the flank. Rift Walk is available onto Steel, would be the target. Lulex here as well. Force post not going to land. And Millennium will back away, but it's the comparison between the 2 teams, because we saw Millennium continually pushing a wave. And Schalke would say, okay, look, we'll try and deal with you 4v5, or we'll have 1 person split push there. Mimic, just no respect for the fact there might be 2 people there, and the rest of Millennium try and collapse on it, rather than taking an objective on the other side of the map.
And now you don't have a lane that can contend in the side lane against Millennium. You don't have a Fiora against the Renekton. You have a Maokai, who will get pushed in and will lose that trade gradually. You have a LeBlanc into a Kassadin who is strong enough to deal with it. You have an immobile or low mobility AD carry against a high mobility AD carry. And a champion like Lee Sin that can catch out that misfortune and just kick it, and instantly the fight is over. This is an easy setup for Schalke once they start going out to the side lanes, but they're fighting over a dragon right now.
And Lulex isn't actually there to try and smite this one away. Steel tried to get in, it does reset. It's now the Inferno Drake that spawns. Obviously first two were clouds, but look at the damage. This is the problem for Millennium. They've got one tank, and the rest of their lineup is incredibly squishy.
There's a big wave bot lane that's pushing out. Look at Selfie and Smitty J. Oh, there's the tandem gymnastics getting over that wall.
As if Selfie needed more mobility.
I know.
On this Kassadin. But yeah, huge wave pushing in. They're going to just look for it. And actually, you can see Norscarin realizing his team lacks tankiness. He's gone for the Locket of the Iron Solari over that Leandries or over that Rylai's.
Yeah, a lot of the time he'll pick up the Rylai's, but he's trying to just bestow more health onto his entire team with that AoE shield. Oh, where did it all go wrong?
I can tell you where it all went wrong when they all tried to collapse.
It was more of a rhetorical question at that point. It was in the bottom lane when they were trying to get the inhibitor, when they overpushed.
This is what makes a good team great, though, from Schalke. Like, we talked about how they always take advantages. They're very rarely behind. Only one game we've seen them behind, and that was against PSG. Now, they were miles behind. They were being devastated by Millennium, and they capitalize, and they catch out mistakes, and they play well around their other team's mistakes.
They capitalize. Some people will say it was a lucky break that Millennium pushed in, but you've got to catch it.
Yeah, and you've
got to punish it.
You've got to have two people bot lane.
Yeah.
You've got to set that up. You have to control vision so they don't know two people are bot lane. It's very easy to say that you're fortunate. You know, you see it all the time in solo queue, people being like, oh, it was lucky that you caught me out. It was lucky that you got that kill. It's like, no, controlled vision. Obviously, at my level, you don't do that because no one knows what a ward is. But Millennium now trying to recuperate, understand how they get back into this game. It is going to be difficult because they had a snowball in composition that now the snowball is just stopped rolling down that hill. Yeah,
realistically, they don't have a late game threat anymore, whereas Schalke have two. And they are in a position to output damage. You can see how much Upset's doing.
Pretty looking for the flank here. Does get the chains on towards Upset. Redemption comes down, will heal him up. Look at the Mantrid Inspire as well. Teleport in by Smitty J. He's just helping out his team. Meanwhile, Selfie's still pushing out that bottom lane. Upset is low, but he's going to jump forward once again. Lands the chains onto Smitty, but he's just going to slice his way away. Lulex, yeah, you've been spotted there, mate. Call of the Void. Call of the Q, perhaps, as Lulex looks.
Pretty's gone bot to clear it out. Now Selfie's coming around the backside of this fight.
Oh, Nethergrass onto Lulex, the engage. The bullet time down as well, but it's not going to connect. Selfie joins the fray. He's caught out. He's exhausted. He's going to get twisted advanced on by Mimic. He's in the back line, but the rest of Millennium just aren't there to kick away. Smitty J with the flank. Onto Pretty, takes him out. 1v1. Gets the kill. Smitty will fall. Pinoy manages to get the kill, but Mimic is still a strong front line here.
So low.
Schalke are also low. If only Pinoy had a bullet time. He's already used it this fight, of course.
If only Steel could get a reset here. He couldn't jump
so low
in.
On energy.
He doesn't have the evolved leap. So if he does jump in, it is a one-kill, one-way trip.
A one-way ticket to the highlight reel of the EU Challenger Series. If you'd managed to pick up two, it would have been, but they're not able to push down mid. And even though it's a one-for-one trade, Schalke will be happy enough with that. They didn't get the turret, but they managed to get out alive.
Millennium will breathe a sigh of relief that Selfie hesitated.
And was exhausted straight away.
And exhausted, yeah. That exhaust isn't available if there is another fight soon.
And of course, Pretty with the teleport. Worked out really well for them earlier on. Now puts him in a side lane where he can't trade with any of the opposing side laners, and means that he doesn't have the exhaust. He doesn't have that ability to shut down the Kassadin. Double exhaust into Kassadin is something you really want late game because of how much damage you can do jumping into your team.
And look at what Schalke have got. QSS on Smitty J, QSS on Upset. There's a Banshees on Lulex. So even though it didn't absorb that, he's still got the magic resist that comes through. Helps him to survive through some of this. This is where Selfie got exhausted, and now he's going to kill Pretty.
Yeah, Pretty's just dead. This is what we were saying, though. Yeah. Pretty cannot 1v1.
Nope. Pretty much impossible for a LeBlanc to 1v1 a level 17 Kassadin when LeBlanc herself is only level 15.
Yeah, and now Schalke take the gold lead. 3 turrets down, and they're ahead in the gold. A lot of it being that 90 CS lead in the top lane, of course, and the 40 CS lead in the mid. Upset's just going to hop his way over this wall if he needs to. Doesn't even decide to do that. Very comfortable just standing around here. With a 2,000 gold lead, Schalke starting to look to close out this game. It was very messy from them early on, but now it's a lot more decisive, a lot more difficult for Millennium to capitalize on any disadvantages.
And what a start Millennium had. It was good.
Perfect
oh,
start,
hang on.
in all honesty. This is the Baron. Upset's had to jump away.
TP coming in from Pretty. I think Schalke just peeled back away from this here.
They might try to. Smitty J gets
Pretty's
onto
found
North
Upset.
Gavin. Pretty's onto Upset. As you say, he kills him. The bullet time comes down, and Schalke will remember down as our Millennium. Pinoy kicked in the kill. The double for Smitty, but Pretty's still doing work. Schalke is so low. Mimic and Pretty trying to clean up onto Lulex. Get the damage down. The red buff is going to tick. Lulex somehow still alive. Millennium will chase him down. The final auto comes out. But still, it's a 3-for-3 trade, and Millennium don't get anything out of it.
3 for 3, Millennium got a little run around so they couldn't clean everything up there. And again, this fight, that time the teleport paid dividends for Pretty. We were talking about how without the exhaust they couldn't really last through the Kassadin. Well, Selfie couldn't last through the fight, and Pretty had already found Upset on the top side of this engage. Look at how Upset has basically isolated himself from the rest of his team. Pretty comes in from the side, high movement speed, couldn't get through the damage, and Selfie forced to Zhonya's early and then jumps back and gets big damage down onto Pinoy and Steel, but cannot survive through the damage coming from the LeBlanc, from Mimic as well. And then it's just a matter of wasting Millennium's time here for Lulex. He knows he's not getting out of this alive, but buys enough time for Karma, for Renekton to get back.
Gold equalizes a little bit once again. Only 1,000 the difference between the two teams. Now there's a dragon on the rift, it's a mountain. Millennium will be dismayed that that wasn't up earlier on. Instead they've got the 2 clouds, but that does help with Pretty, being able to get those flanks off. Renekton, of course, now 7, 3, and 5 on Smitty J, but he falls off later on. Is this, at what point is it that we will start to see him fall off? Because at the moment, he's still a main damage threat for Millennium, for Schalke.
I mean, you still are seeing his actual impact fall off. He still can push out on the side lane, but Schalke have not played the side lane game for the most part. They've had Kassadin go clear it out, Renekton go and clear it out. They've actually been moving with Renekton and Kassadin to the same side lane, which is an interesting choice.
It's how you catch out Mimic.
It's how you're trying to, chunk through that Maokai massive health.
Of course, Pretty doesn't have his teleport, and there are double teleports up for Schalke, so they can try and play around that. They're looking for this perfect split, in all honesty. It looked very much 20 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, like it wasn't going to happen for them. Millennium seemed to have this game on lock, but Schalke have come back into it after a couple of good plays. And now they're still trying to see if they can go undefeated in the European Challenger Series. A good omen for most teams. Look at Origin, look at Misfits Academy.
Yeah.
Something that usually spells that you're going to get into the LCS.
So Selfie has bought himself a Rabidance. A lot of extra damage, and this against a team with double TP. They've seen Ezreal in the mid lane.
Ward comes down straight away. Smitty J is going to join the fray. Selfie, Rift walks forward. Millennium disengaged smartly, but the Voidling kept that Baron aggroed, and Lulex might go in for this. It's off towards the side. Smitty J still
like
taking
losing
it up.
half of his health.
Selfie steps into the pit as well. Mimic's still there.
I don't think
trying
he
to
wants
distract.
this.
Upset's jumped on. Pretty jumps in, exhausted straight away. The bullet time up. Vander just about survives off towards the side. Smitty J on the back line now. He's down into the GA. Mimic trying to do what he can. Upset still alive. Steel tries to void a soda in. Smitty J's dead now, and Millennium might go for the engage. Mimic has flash. If he wants to flash Twisted Advance, they might just turn their eyes back towards the Baron. Beta out once again. There's the True Shot Barrage. Doesn't do too much. Norscarin gets kicked. Lulex jumps in. Selfie there as well, though, and Mimic tries to get the kill. Lulex dead. Selfie on Pretty as well. The Malefic Vision's not quite enough to burn through him. And Schalke escaped themselves. So what was that?
Again, Schalke on the bad end of the fight.
Screw game 2. Just screw game 2, Stretch. We should have
today.
best of ones. Best of ones.
No, we're not going back. You can't take us back.
That fight was just chaotic. Once again, I think we're starting to see Smitty J fall off a little bit, because he was in that backline for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, he's against the Maokai. He's trying to deal damage against people who just kind of naturally can survive through. So the aim here for Millennium was take the first TP, and what that resulted in was SmittyJ deciding that they still wanted to try and take the Baron, which is an interesting decision, to say the least. Then the fight ends up in this choke against the bullet time, and Vander is already out of the fight very early on. SmittyJ, here's what you're talking about. Into the back line he goes, tries to get anything done here, but Lulex isn't enough to save him. And Selfie just needs to survive longer in these fights. It's very difficult for him to keep alive.
This was over-aggressive from Lulex as well. Like, they eventually get a kill, but Lulex does fall, and Selfie probably should have fallen as well. I think Pretty just mistimes his jump across the wall.
So there's a QSS for Selfie as well. QSS for everybody but Vander, because they don't want to get Nethergrass in the middle of a fight. Upset. Ooh.
Jumped on by Mimic. Selfie still there. He's going to rip walk forward. The flank from SmittyJ is coming out. The Nethergrass used as well. Here's the redemption. Mimic jumps in, but the rest of his team are not there with him. Still has GA. Millennium will look for the reset of this fight if they can. SmittyJ with the Malefic Visions on his face. Schalke trying to re-engage. There's the bullet time only on SmittyJ. Pretty kick back. Here comes Lulex. Selfie jumps in as well. Pretty back up towards the side. Benoit's on a killing spree. Upsets down as well. But Millennium are getting swept away by Schalke. A triple for Selfie.
Schalke are able to just power through the fight, get the ace, and they might just be able to push this through. This game started 0-4 and 0 for Selfie, and he's 9-5-9.
Welcome to Kassadin. He's got that, now that he's got the Quicksilver Sash, he's got the Zhonya's, he's basically unkillable unless somehow you manage to catch him out. They're going to go for the inhibitor. They might even go for the game, as you say. 20 seconds remain on Norscarin, and Selfie will melt through these turrets. SmittyJ tanking it up as well, perhaps not the target they'd want. Now get the first Nexus tower down. 10 seconds on Norscarin. Selfie still going for this one. It looks like Schalke and Nulfir will be able to secure themselves at the spot at the top of the table. 2-0 versus Millennium, and still undefeated.
But how close was it? Schalke scraped their way back into this series. It was close fight after close fight to keep coming back into this game. And I mean, in the end of all things, the late game composition pays off, because they drag the game, stall it, slow it late on until the point where this Kassadin can take over. And Schalke, 8 wins, 0 losses in Challenger Series this split.
It's impressive in all honesty, but I think you have to, if you're Schalke at the moment, if you're sitting there in the room, you have to say that was a poor performance. And you have to think, if we were playing up against Unicorns, if we were playing up against G2, if we were playing up against Misfits, the normal Misfits, we would have lost that game because they would have just snowballed it better. Millennium, I really want to give credit to them, because we talked so much before these picks and bans started about them being a cookie cutter composition. Neither of their comps fitted into what we thought they'd go, and they played that game incredibly well. Even game 1, they played pretty well until it went out of hand for them.
It was better for Millennium in game 2, certainly. They just the one overreach in bot lane, trying to get the inhibitor, couldn't really secure it for themselves, and gave away a couple of kills. That was the beginning of Selfie getting kills, and from there, Selfie just kept getting kills in fights, only died 1 more time throughout the game, despite being heavily camped early on. It was that was a tough game for Millennium to take.
Today has been a lot of tough game 2s, and you have to look at it like PSG managed to get their first 2-0. We had a draw in the first game of the day. It has been an incredibly action-packed day of League of Legends. I really enjoyed watching it, and it means that next week every single match is a decider match for us. We'll have to see who's able to win out matches and who's able to get up towards the higher points of those standings. But coming back to this once again, is this Schalke showing us that gods can bleed? Is this Millennium showing us that you can make a dent in this Schalke armor?
I think so. I think it's Schalke showing us that they can be overconfident, that they do make mistakes, and that they are punishable. But you've got to punish them, and punish them quick, because they will turn back around any mistakes you make too.
Well, after a night of frivolity on the Rift for our Challenger teams, here's where they stand. Schalke still undisputed champions of the European Challenger Series in first spot with 12 points. Misfits Academy have 5. Fnatic, Millennium, Paris Saint-Germain and Team Kingwin all sit in tied third with 4 points. And it's just, it sets us up for such a great week next week.
It does, and when we look at the matches that we're going to have for next week, it's our final matches of the group stage. Look at it, Millennium, PSG, they're all fighting for that tied spot. Schalke face Misfits Academy to try and have a perfect split, or we'll see whether the Misfits can extend their lead on the group. And Fnatic Academy versus Kinguin in a match that pretty much will be for the last playoff spot.
So here's an interesting one for you, right? If Misfits lose to Schalke and 04, which is expected, and both the other games draw, we will have Schalke at 15 points at the top of the table, and then 5 teams tied for second place with 5 points. And that's not beyond the realm of possibility, in all honesty. Fnatic Kinguin, although now Kikis and Amazing are there, maybe Fnatic will be able to overpower Kinguin, although if Tabasco has a good performance, they might hit it off. PSG Millennium. PSG look really strong this week, could be 1-1 as well.
We love ties here in Europe, so what better than 5 teams tied?
Yeah, five
we'll
teams
find out next week.
We will find out next week, but it's time for us to close the client here on the European Challenger Series. On behalf of myself, on behalf of Stress, on behalf of the whole broadcast team, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week for more up-and-coming European League of Legends goodness. Cheerio. Amazing separates off towards the side, inhibitor down as Kikis takes it out. Rales unleash power onto him, Misfits are going to chase away Fnatic Academy. The curtain call comes down, but Kosku gets jumped on. Clyde's dead, Misfits Academy have disengaged from Baron. Yuki kicks him in, Kikis is on the Nexus turrets! Amazing's gonna die, but Kikis is gonna get 2 Nexus towers out. Fnatic collapsing in for 4 different sides, and they'll take out one. Brightstalker caught away to the side as well. Ooh. He's dead. Petrifying gaze though from Kosku, exhausted straight away. Misfits Academy running for the hills, but I'm not sure they get away from the Fnatic professorial squad. Misfits Academy, the students. Fnatic Academy, the teachers, and they're teaching them how to get killed. Brightstalker, it's a smite fight. Kikis tries to get onto the back line. Amazing now taking up the Baron. Reset with the Hexagon to him. He's dead. And now it's a 4v5 and Misfits can try and re-engage. Straight in. Yuki dead. Clyde's going to go down as well. Niski has to make a 1v5 play. Amazing there off towards the side. Can't get in. Can't engage. Can't join the fray. He tries to jump on towards Yuki, but he's dead. Niski's dead. Fnatic are dead. And Misfits will take the win.
Oh, he got him.
Oh, that was beautiful. But the Baron is low. PSG
no,
getting sniped away. Kyrie dead. The Baron goes down. White Knight gets it, but PSG are getting destroyed. Decimated. Melted away in the pit. PSG get out with only 2 members. 1 member left alive. It's only White Knight. And now he has to defend versus 5 members of Kinguin. What a wave going in. Oh, Woolite. He's got engaged on. Explosive cast. Kyrie takes him out. Now Sebex the target as Kyrie jumps in. Kyrie survives as well with the shield. White Knight takes the kill, a killing spree for him, and Kinguin are running for the hills. They need to escape because otherwise PSG can just push down. PSG will go 2-0 up versus Team Kinguin.
Oh, that's a big crit.
Oh, he's dead. That they will. The curtain call opens up. Schalke looking for the kill on Nosker, and Smitty J is right there. He'll take that one. Mimic caught out as well as Smitty continues in with the aggression. Blast cone popped by Selfie himself, but Pinoy now caught out. Upset jumps in, gets the kill onto Pinoy. Vander's gonna spot out Steel, but Steel might just straight back into him. Selfie, he has to jump away straight away. Nethergrass onto Smitty J. Steel the front line. Selfie jumps in. Smitty J's low though, and Pretty comes back in once again, exhausted. Just about to escape.
So low.
Upset going for the chase. The true shot barrage is huge. Mimic gets chased out as well and sacrifices himself. 2 kills for 1. Inhibitor tower down for Millennium. Norscarin gets kicked. Lulex jumps in. Selfie there as well though, and Mimic tries to get the kill. Lulex dead. Selfie on Pretty as well. The Malefic Vision's not quite enough to burn through him. Here's the redemption. Mimic jumps in, but the rest of his team are not there with him. Still has GA. Millennium will look for the reset of this fight if they can. Smitty J with the Malefic Visions on his face. Schalke trying to re-engage. There's the bullet time only on Smitty J. Pretty kicked back. Here comes Lulex. Selfie jumps in as well. Pretty back off towards the side. Pinoy's on a killing spree. Upset down as well. But Millennium are getting swept away by Schalke. A triple for Selfie. Schalke and Nilfear will be able to secure themselves at the spot at the top of the table. 2-0 versus Millennium and still undefeated.